also support the bill. Thank you.
Member for Masinga. Honorable Mwalio.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me this chance. At least now I can say something before 7 o'clock. This bill is a very important bill, especially for us members of parliament and also the other elected leaders, because it will help us to be able to save some coins in our pockets. Once this bill has been passed and then we create these homes, the way the other members of parliament have been able to express, it is very important to anchor it somewhere whereby it is safe, that it will not be abused, it will not be neglected, and a budget which should be put maybe a percentage in our yearly budget, in our national budget, should be put there a percentage for those homes, because if you find that maybe the percentage of the old people might be 40%, or 30%, and that is a very big percentage of the Kenyan population. And you'll find that in those days when we used to be young, we used to respect the words of the old people or our parents. In fact, in a bus where we used to stand in buses, if we see an elderly lady as a young person, you stand for the lady to sit. But nowadays, you find that the young man is sitting and an old woman who is almost kneeling down is standing, or even a pregnant woman. So such a respect has gone through the window. So we need to take care of the society, because the young people that we have, our children, are no longer being able to have the morals, the standards, the moral decay which has entered the society has spoiled everything for us. And therefore, the blessings that the children used to get from their parents is no longer there. They don't value it, because you find that a parent, an old lady of 80 years, is calling you to buy her medicine, and when you ask her, don't you have children? She will tell you, I have children, but they have refused to buy for me the medicine. You wonder, where does the blessing come from? No wonder that is why the young people are dying more than the old people, because we have neglected. Even the word of God says, obey your parents so that your days can be increased. So if you don't obey them and respect them, then your days are cut short. I have realized that the little allowances, the little money that the government is sending to the elderly is helping them to live longer. Because I have watched them come to our center to withdraw the money from the post office, and once they get that money, you see them smiling. Even they go to the hotels and take some tea and some good lunch. And then that smile alone will earn some more years for them. And therefore, this is a good bill that we need to fight for it, and also be able to look for a way that the NHIF can be free for the people above 65 years or 70 years. Because if you tell them the 3,000 they are getting to pay NHIF 500 shillings every month, then they will be left with nothing. And you will find that they will neglect the NHIF, and that is the one they are going to depend on, because at that age, going to visit the hospital is almost on a monthly basis. And therefore, we need to anchor this bill, this law, once it is passed, in a good system, a system whereby it's accountable, a system whereby people can go and counter-check whether it is working or it has been left for it to die. And therefore, I really support it, And I would like to say that the management of these homes should be through the CEOs, or even the way we run our institutions. It should be an institution on its own, having a budget that has employees, have got nurses, an hospital nearby, even if not an hospital, a clinic nearby, or even a nurse living in that home, whereby when one of them gets sick at night, can be attended for before they reach the hospital. With those few remarks, because our friend, I can see my colleagues wants to contribute, it is very, very important to remember that these parents have sold their possessions to educate us, and it is our turn to reciprocate. And therefore, the young people who are watching us, they should know that they need that blessing, because the parents have educated them, and they are moved with their wives to the cities, and they neglected the parents. And therefore, the governments need to take care of these parents, because they are precious to us. With those few remarks, I support.
Honorable Wawero, Kiari.
Madam Speaker, this opportunity to contribute is much appreciated. And I'd like to say that I support this bill, the Care and Protection of Older Members of Society bill. And I'd like to thank the Senate for coming up with this extremely timely bill, and also commend the Committee on Labor for channeling this through to get to this level where we are debating it, and hopefully, Madam Speaker, be able to pass it. Because this is a bill that seeks to give effect to Article 57 in the Constitution. And Madam Speaker, it goes without saying that the Constitution of Kenya 2010 did envisage a situation where all human rights are taken care of for each and every individual. However, Madam Speaker, we realize that as people are aging, their needs become a bit more special as their age progresses. Traditionally, Madam Speaker, there was a different way that we viewed things. In the African setup, there was so much respect that was given to the older persons. And in fact, it was considered that the older you get, the more wise you are to become. And thus, being a custodian of culture, a custodian of the institutional memory of a community, being the custodian of the wisdom of the community, the African did take care of their old people. Back then, the social fabric was a bit more intact, Madam Speaker. And what would happen is that there were very good social safety nets for each and every member of the community, from the child to the middle-aged people to the old people. Madam Speaker, things have really changed since then. Today, we are faced as a country by an ism that we have never been able to deal with, Madam Speaker. And this ism is ageism. And we are coming to a realization that ageism is as evil an ism as any other. Ageism is as evil as tribalism. It's as evil as racism. It's as evil as any other ism that you can imagine. But it is really growing in this country, Madam Speaker. So we, as a house that is relatively youthful, in fact, I dare say the most youthful parliament in Kenya's history, have to be innovative in how we address issues of people who are old. Because as it has been said here before, Madam Speaker, age is very transitional. The young person today is not going to be young forever. We who are youthful are not going to be youthful forever. So for that reason, Madam Speaker, I do support any effort where we are trying to work towards protecting the rights not only of the people generally, but people who need specific care, almost affirmative care, like our old people. Madam Speaker, I did say that by virtue of providing a framework that promotes the rights of the older members of society as enshrined in the Constitution, this bill is timely. However, Madam Speaker, we talk about promoting the dignity of the older people. And even as we legislate, it is very clear in our minds that there are things that we cannot legislate, Madam Speaker. Things like morality are things that we will find very hard to legislate on, Madam Speaker. So we are calling upon, even as we are making these laws, we are calling upon ourselves as a society to also look at the soft issues that cannot be put in pen and paper, those soft issues that are not able to be legislated upon. Because when we seek for the dignity of older people, we are seeking for an acceptance by people who have not gotten to that advanced stage, that these people need special care, and this is actually a moral calling that cannot be legislated on. Madam Speaker, this bill does seek to provide a framework for the registration and establishment and management and service, the establishment and management of residential facilities for older members of society. Madam Speaker, this is a good idea. But, Madam Speaker, my reservations on this is the whole issue of institutionalizing our older people. The fact that you are uprooting an individual and putting them in an institution and then expecting them to operate normally as a human being in itself goes against what we are seeking to do by seeking more dignity for our older people. In fact, Madam Speaker, there is an African saying that it takes an entire village to bring up a child. I do also believe that it takes an entire community to bring up its old. So even as we go into the nitty-gritty of the establishment of these institutions, we've got to find how the final policy is going to make sure that the guardians who are bringing our older people into these institutions are not dumping them at institutions. Madam Speaker, in the Dagoretti South constituency, we have an organization called Karika. And Karika is taking care of our older people without institutionalizing them. These older people report to a center that is a compound that was actually public land that has now been set aside for these older people to come and interact with each other, to come and socialize. We even have people who are younger who visit with these people. In this center, they get training that is vocational, that is useful for them as they are living their life. If it is handiwork, beadwork, these older people do get to participate. However, they are not institutionalized. So the people of the greater Dagoretti South constituency still have the role of taking care of their older people without institutionalizing them. So even as we think about how we form these institutions, I do believe there is a place where we can have our older people with designated centers that are not necessarily live-in centers, so that the live-in centers are left for the very dire and the very desperate cases of people who do not have family that they can call their own. Because we do not want to deny family its duty of taking care of its old. Madam Speaker, finally, the point I'd like to make at the end is the fact that this bill does seek to combat the abuse of older members of society. Madam Speaker, as age progresses, the abuse also morphs into special kind of abuse. And there has been listed here, as different speakers were contributing, a number of abuses that our older people go about. And I think that some of the abuse that we don't think about more often is even leading to earlier deaths of our older people. And such abuse is an example of inheritance. These old people have worked all their life to get what it is that they call their own. And we've seen cases where abuse is not coming from outside, it's coming from members of the family. We've had cases of people who are disinheriting their old in their sickbed. An individual shows up in hospital with a form and gets the hand of a sick patient and goes on to imprint the thumbprint on this form so that this old man gives permission to be inherited without his own consent, Madam Speaker. And this kind of abuse, when such a man learns that it is his children who are inheriting him, will fast forward his ailment. And some of them end up even dying because of abuse that is coming from within the family. But Madam Speaker, more than that, I'd like to say that this bill is timely. We need for this to be implemented. And I do support members of parliament who have said that we cannot domicile this care under county care. We can think of how it can come under our national government, NGCDF, or even the NGAF, so that it is in a place where we know, being that the monies are being disbursed as conditional loans, they'll be taken care of. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I do support.
I see Honorable Sahal has hung her boots for the day. Are you still interested, or you are, because you are next in line? Just give her the mic. You can go on without your card, Honorable Sahal. Honorable Sahal, you have the mic. Go on. Honorable members, and you don't have to be anxious. You will still have time.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, our society is becoming...
Just a minute, Honorable Sahal. I was just saying that I can see some members who have been waiting to contribute, and time is not on our side. So you need not be anxious. And, you know, we have 6 minutes to go. Unless you decide amongst yourselves to share the 6 minutes, it's up to you. So let's have Honorable Sahal.
2 minutes. Okay. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, our society is becoming insane because long time ago our parents used to take care of their parent, grandparent, but as of this generation, Madam Speaker, we don't really care about our old. Evidence shows the abuse of the older persons has been on the rise in Kenya, Madam Speaker, with the most common form of abuse being physical. For instance, stories of old people being declared witches and burned to death. The elderly are also often victims of theft and are sometimes forcibly stripped of their belongings like land, properties, and animals. Madam Speaker, for this reason, the object of this bill is to establish instruments and laws which are forcibly that makes care of the elderly. An act of this bill will provide all people with constant national protection of their rights by establishing the national standard of their rights are adhered to. As a result, the data by establishing data collection on violation of these rights will be recorded, and such violation will be easily addressed as long as there is documented information on their nature of prevalences and cases. Madam Speaker, the statement of this bill describes the mandate of the national and the county government with respect of their older members of society in as far as effective, coordinated, supported is concerned. The most vital of all obligation is implementation of the national policy and strategy relating to the old persons. Clearly, there are more issues to address than managing the home care centers for the old people. These members of our society equally require physical support. There is need to harness the delivery of services like medication, mobility, and personal care, which will improve the quality of a life of us a whole. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support.
Honorable Captain Rueda.
Alhamdulillah. Asante Bispika kunipatia nafasi hii nami kuchangia kwa mswada wa utunzaji na ulinzi kwa wazee katika jamii. Bispika, wazee ni baraka. Bispika, naunga mkono kwa dhati huu mswada kwa sababu nimeusoma, una mambo mazuri sana. Bispika, lazima tuwe na desturi ya kuheshimu wazee. Nchi zingine zinatushinda. Sisi hapa tukienda kwa mahoteli makubwa ndo tunajaribu utaona zile tabia za kuheshimu wazee na watoto kwa chakula mwanzo, lakini ikija mashinani au manyumbani utaona wengine watu hawana hizo desturi. Mimi nashukuru watu wa Lamu, sisi tunaheshimu sana wazee, tuna kushinda watu wa Kilifi. Kilifi kuna mambo mengi yanatokea juu ya wazee. Bispika, ningependa kamati wajue kwamba Lamu kuna sehemu nyingi hazikufikiwa na mradi kama huu. Sehemu za Basuba kwa sababu ya changamoto ya usalama, wazee wako lakini hawakufikiwa na miradi hii. Bispika, nataka pia wajue kwamba usafiri kama sehemu za Kiunga ni mbali paka Lamu. Mtu mmoja anatumia 1500 kwa usafiri, kwenda 2000 kurudi 2000 na alale huko, kisha aende akachukue ya miezi miwili ambao ni 4000. Huwa pesa hii ni kama inaharibiwa tu kwa njia. Bispika, kuna maagent ambao wafaa kuwekwa. Lamu wamewekwa maagent 2, lakini kwa sababu ya mazingira ya Lamu yanafaa wawekwe maagent zaidi ya 4 kwa sababu ile Lamu ilivyo. Bispika, shilingi 2000 ni kidogo sana kwa wale wazee. Kama kamati itashughulikia ili nao waongezwe pesa hizi. Bispika, kuna wazee wengine pia wamefikisha miaka 70 lakini sahihi hawezi chukuliwa kwa sababu imefungwa. Paka kufunguliwa tena inakuwa shida, hao wengine hawapati nafasi hizi. Asante Bispika, nipatie mwingine nafasi.
Honorable Kadhambi, I don't want to give you a minute. Okay, you can start your minute and then you reserve the 9 for the next session.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, though it's 1 minute, I am actually starting to support the bill. And the best way we can do it in this country, Madam Speaker, we should start first with the national audit to find out how many elders do we have in the country. Also, Madam Speaker, in this bill, we need also to come up with a limit of age. What kind of elderly are we talking about? On top of that, Madam Speaker, though my minute adding up, old is gold, and most of the times we have forgotten our elders in this country. And with ideas of coming up with how are we going to, in which criteria do we utilize the funds? For me, Madam Speaker, the way we have seen successes of the CDF in this country, I believe if we can also channel funds through CDF, because we also have some social percentage part of it, this would be another way of making sure that the elderly in the country are catered for, and also the matters of home-based programs can be also implemented by any other, probably the county, but I would probably propose the successes of the CDF in this country would take matter of the elderly. And also why I would support on the matters of in which criteria to channel the funds with. It's because as a single constituency member of parliament, we have dealt with the elderly on the ground, and most of them are seriously on the matters of peace and security. And therefore, it would be a very good chance for the state to make sure our elders are no longer neglected in the society. Therefore, Madam Speaker, the bill in relation to the care and the protection of the elderly members in the society is a very important bill and at the right time. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Very well. Remember, you still have 8 minutes, so you can still organize your thoughts and come back next time to finish it off. With that, honorable members, the time being 7:01 p.m., this House stands adjourned until Tuesday, March the 17th at 2:30 p.m.